All right, hello everyone. Welcome to my option Forex show. I think today we'll be talking about let's see, horizontal levels with fractals. Yeah. I believe I actually chatted about this topic in the past before, but this is more like in someone from the previous session actually asking about horizontal level. I feel that it's actually an important topic for me to actually touch again. Yeah, because horizontal level seems to be one of the, it's a 50% skill, 50% science, 50% art. Yeah, so there isn't actually any definite ways to actually draw a horizontal level. Of course, there's a recommended way, but I don't think anyone can say that this is how it should be properly drawn. And adding to the mix now is that there's the one-liner horizontal levels, and then there's also the supply and demand, which I'll actually touch on 2 weeks later. That more or less these two are similar in nature, but there are fine differences in using them. By and large, to me, I would say supply and demand, the way I approach using it is that I'll use it more for a reversal trades, yeah, not so much for trend trades. It can be used for trend trades, but I'm afraid that the school of thought which I subscribe to for supply and demand is more for reversals. Yeah. Horizontal levels is more versatile. It can be used for trend trading, it can be used for range, it can be used for reversals. But because horizontal levels are much more, I would say, liberal. Yeah, so different people uses different things. Let's hope that some of the listeners who subscribe to my show, either of these indicator, this week of course will be the fractal horizontal levels. 2 weeks later will be supply and demand indicator. You'll find something that actually suits you, something that you yourself can actually use. Yeah. So without further ado, let me go to this. Where is it? Yeah. Yeah. So just a simple introduction to fractals. All right. So probably some of you who have first come across this term fractals, it might be used to describe nature itself. Yeah. But for the realm of trading, Forex, fractals, the indicator which we are talking about today is more of this. It is really a V or inverted V. Yeah, so you got 3 selling candles followed by 2 buying candles, or 2 buying candles followed by 3 selling candles. That's more about it. This will be known as a 5 fractal formation. Yeah, so fractals usually come in odd numbers. So you got the 5 fractal. You also can have the 3 fractal, 7 fractal, 9 fractal formation. Yeah, usually it comes in odd numbers. It can be in even numbers, but that's to a lesser extent. For even number, that it is more the visual representation will be more like a chart pattern, I would say. Yeah. So for easier time, usually people don't say that that's a bearish that's a 5 fractal or 7 fractal formation. They will just say that it's a bearish fractal or a bullish fractal. But it will be good to know when you're talking about people who uses the same indicator that if you know that there are different ways of using it, it'll be good to say upfront, I'm using a 3 fractal or 5 fractal. Yeah, these are the 2 most common ones. Yeah. So by itself, you'll know that a 3 fractal will actually occur much more frequently than a 5 fractal. Yeah. Because it just requires 3 candle to form. That's about it. Yeah. And then bearish and bullish fractal, as you can see, am I displaying? Yeah. It can be in a group. So that's why just now I say that 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Yeah. By then, it'll become more like a chart pattern per se, or it will actually be more in a range. But on the broad picture, no matter how many fractals you're looking at, it will still be a V or inverted V. That's about it. Yeah. You have the cast, the MT4 by itself would have the fractal. You can't adjust it. Yeah, it's a standard 5 fractal formation. All right. So you can see this symbol slide. This is what you have in the MT4. Go to browse down the indicators. Just look for fractals. It is there. Yeah. So now, Today, what we are talking about again is that using fractals to draw a horizontal level. The NT4 ones doesn't help you draw the horizontal level. So whenever a fractal is formed, you have to draw it yourself. Yeah. But the indicator that I'm supplying today, sorry, not I supply, but the indicator that I found today, it helps you draw the levels just to make our life easier. All right. So I hope that more or less explain fractals. All right. It is formed by odd number candlesticks. All right, either 3, 5, 7. Now the next question that people usually ask is that, is fractal repainting or non-repainting? Does it appear and then disappear, or once it appears, it stays there? Now, there's a two-part answer. A fractal is a repainting indicator, and it is not a repainting indicator. I know that somewhat confused you, so let me go back to the first image. So what happens with fractals is that, first and foremost, to use this indicator, you must know how it behaves, how it's being calculated. Right? So a fractal will form. All right, the first indication, that means for this particular arrow, it will form, right? It will be painted. It will appear on your MT4 when there's when the first condition appear. That means you have 3 selling candles. Then on the third one, you'll see the fractal appear. But if the price continues to sell, then you see the fractal go to the 4th candle. If it continues to sell, you go to the 5th candle. If it continues to sell, you go to the 6th candle. Yeah. So in this aspect, it repaints. Okay. But once, if you say 1, 2, 3 candles selling, a 4th appear, and a 5th appeared. So once the 5th candle appeared, this particular fractal that forms here will remain permanently. It won't appear and it won't disappear ever again. All right. I hope that clears. A fractal will repaint as long as the 5 candle formation is not complete. Right? It will appear and it will repaint. I mean, the correct term of saying is it will recalculate. Sorry, not repaint. It is meant to be recalculating. All right. As long as the 5 candle formation is not complete, it will recalculate whenever a new candle appears. But once a 5 candle formation is fixed, then you will see that the fractal will be there permanently. It won't be shifting place. All right, this is very, very important. What this tells you is that whoever is using fractals out there, be it 3, 5, 7, if you're using for 3 candles fractal, you must wait for the 3rd candle to appear before the fractal is confirmed and you can trade from it. That's about it. All right. So conversely, if you're using a 7 candle fractal, which some deems it as stronger because it needs more candle to form, then the 7th candle must close before the fractal is considered confirmed. That's about it. All right. Up to this stage, if you have any question, please type out now, because it will be much easier for me to answer them rather than me blabbering on and then you guys are confused later on. Let me check. I think it's pretty clear. Okay, no questions? Okay, good. So now let's switch on to next. Great. So this is the candle, this is the indicators that I'm going to share today. It's known as fractal support and resistance. I think Mike can actually help me paste the link. So you'll always be the same link. Now let's go to the indicator. Okay. Oops, what did I do? Right, so go through the settings indicator. The time frame, it will always appear as current time frame. So the good thing about this indicator is that, and normally people who use support and resistance, they'll go for one time frame higher. Yeah, so for today, I'll just switch to daily time frame. Fractal period, default 5. We can use 3. Right. And then calculating price high and low. Now this is the interesting part. So let's go through. So you need to spend some time on that. So you can see that for this particular fractal, it's calculating using, for the price high, is using the high of the candle. For the low, price low is using the low of the candle. Now, this is up to your individual traders for reference. Some people just do not like to draw horizontal level on high and low. You like to draw it on close. Then you can change it to close price. What does this do? All right, so I just want you to take a notice of this two particular level. Oops. Right, so what you're looking at now is that the support level, which is the blue line, is actually drawn on the price low. And currently, you can see that this fractal is appearing as a red dot. It's drawn on the high. You can actually change it. Personally, I don't mind. So if I change it to both of it is close price, you can see that the level shifted. Instead of being at a high and low, it's at a close price. Now, this is actually up to personal preference. I wouldn't recommend saying that which one is better or which one is worse off. Yeah. So depending on the trader yourself. Right. So there is some customization to be done there if you want it. Stick back to daily time frame. Then of course it comes with all the usual alerts. So if you're a price action trader who trades off purely levels, then the alerts will be useful for you. Yeah. Right, and so I hope that clears up. Now, just one thing I just want to show: fractals. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see this is actually how the levels are. You can see that once a fractal is formed, a level will be printed. Once a bearish fractal is formed, a support level will be printed. Yeah. So this is how the behind the scenes of how this indicator looks like. Yeah. Of course, for today, I think I'll just use 3 fractal formation. So I just want to see more lines out there. Oh, before I continue on, just one thing I have to clarify. I won't be presenting any back-tested data today. Yeah, because this is just a horizontal level indicator. I think it's requested by someone previously. Yeah, and I think it's just good to show your. Yeah. As always, my mantra in towards trading is that anything that can be objective, I'll use it. I don't want to really put in my emotion as a trader and affect how I trade. I think that's quite the worst of my result comes from that, comes from my emotion and when I start to guess. All right. So now let's move on. So as I mentioned just now, is that horizontal levels are, to me personally, are best traded when you use one time frame higher. So if you are primarily a daily time frame trader, then I would really strongly advise you to switch it to a weekly fractal. So if you are a H4 trader, then use the daily time frame as horizontal level. H1 you still can use daily or either H4. You have the choice to do that. Now, I'll just introduce you 3 ways we can, to me personally, how I will actually use horizontal levels. Okay, now the first one, which is actually the easiest to me, let me go back to daily. I'll use H4 to present. That the first way to use fractal is simply just to trade the retest. Yeah. So if you have an established trend, so to me this is an established downtrend. You can see that there will be a channel here. Yeah. So if you have an established downtrend, you have your consistent lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Simply just trade the retest of the horizontal level. This is the most clear-cut and easiest way that you can actually use this particular indicator. So what I mean by that is you can see that this is a horizontal level. So by the time the 5 fractal formation has formed already, all right, at the first time it prints, there's no way you can actually trade it unless you zoom down to a lower time frame. All right. So once a 5 fractal has formed, the level is confirmed. Cool. That's when you can actually start to trade the retest of the level, be it on the actual time frame itself. But this time around, I'm just going to go down, drill down to a lower time frame. So you can just bear in mind for this level. Let me just go down to H4. You can see this level form. I cannot be trading this level, but once price actually come and retest the same level, then you can trade it. This is the easiest way to trade it, in my humble opinion. Yeah. But of course, there must be a trend or a range. I mean, a retest can also happen in a range. That would be actually the easiest way to trade it. Yeah. By and large, I think most people would actually be aware of this way of trading. Just trade the retest of horizontal level. The second way, the second method, which I myself use a lot, right? That's actually my favorite way of trading horizontal levels. It's just trading the previous support now turn resistance. That personally is my favorite method. How you can do that in particular? So you can see this. Right. So this was previously a support fractal. That means a bullish fractal. Price broke. Right. So once the fractal is formed, just drill down to the lower time frame and look for a retest. So you can see, so this was formed already. All right. Cool. With that, previous support now turn resistance, and that's where you can actually start to jump in and trade it. All right. This is my personal favorite. Previous support turn resistance, or the opposite, previous resistance now turn supports. Yeah. So essentially, for those of you who is not sure, it's really just doing this. Price break, retest, goes up. Or the other way around, price break, retest from what below and go down. Yeah. So by this method, I would say this method is safer for me, or at least psychologically is safer for me. Personally, I prefer this. Is the reason primarily being that it just tells me that when price breaks, it is come back up to the original point where it first break to reabsorb whoever is being left behind the orders, and then it goes down, especially when it's confirmed with price actions. Yeah. So I've been trading this particular method for quite a long time. So far, it is quite a positive experience for me. So these are the two methods that you can actually use. Now the third one, so third one requires stacking of the indicators. I'm just going to make this bold, yeah, so that you can actually differentiate. The third method, you can actually stack the indicator. Where is my fractal here? Right. So remember the first one, the first indicator, I've set it to daily time frame. Okay, I'm still using a 5 fractal formation. I'm going to stack the second indicator, which is the same indicator, right? But I'm going to use it at current. That means it's a H4 time frame, right? And I'm going to change it to 3 fractal formation. All things remain. I don't change anything. I'm just going to use that current time frame, and I'm going to use it as a 3 fractal formation because I want to see it faster. Yeah. So now it becomes a bit messy. So let's zoom in. So this particular method also requires you can't trade this in a range anymore. It must definitely be a trend. Yeah. So the first method, which I repeat, that means if there's a retest, you can trade it either both in a range or in a trend. The second method, which is previous support now turn resistance, that means a break and retest, you require price to be in a range, to be in a trend. The third method also requires price to be in a trend, but you are able to get it faster simply by saying that, look, if the higher time frame, this is the higher time frame, has a confirmed resistance level, is being printed, all I'm waiting for is a lower high. Yeah. So this time around, the lower high, because I'm using a 3 fractal formation, 1, 2, 3. Usually for those of you who use a at least a 2-bar reversal pattern, that means an engulfing bar, a train track reversal, or any other ones, that means at least a 2-bar reversal, you should be able to catch it. Okay. The only price action that you can't catch it, which I myself use, is the test bar, pin bars per se. Yeah, because pin bar is a 1 candle formation. Right. So these are the three different ways, but it's not secret. It's just that how you can utilize using this particular indicator. All right. So just wait for a higher time frame resistance or support level to form. Trade the first lower high, or trade the first higher low if it's an uptrend. And to me, you have a pretty solid way of trading. Let me see if I dollar Swiss daily time frame. Yeah, this would be nice. So dollar yen, I don't think anybody will dispute with me that this is on an uptrend. Yeah. So let's say taking from this part onwards. Once you go down to H4, let's see what happens at 10. Yeah. So once a 5 fractal formation has formed on the daily time frame, you can even change it to 3. The numbers don't really matter much as long as you understand how fractal works. Okay. If you use 3, make sure there's 3 candles on the daily time frame. Okay. So you must see a V. Once it has formed, then when you drill down the lower time frame, in this time around using H4, trade the first higher low or lower, trade the first higher low, which a fractal support has formed. It just confirms you, and you can also enter it. Yeah. But by and large, in terms of pure price action trading, right? I'm talking about pure price action using just price action and support levels, horizontal levels. This is one way this particular indicator can actually help you. That you don't need to guess where's the horizontal level. Just dump it into the MT4 and then let it do its magic for you. Yeah. But for this particular trading, for some of you, I would recommend your price action reading has to be strong. Yeah. For a particular entry, especially the third method which I just described, don't just rely on the fractal to tell you there's a higher low or lower high. Confirm with the price action. All right. The indicator will tell you first, oh, look, there's the support level. This is the main level, main daily level. And then you have the H4 levels. Yeah. Confirm your price action first before you jump in. All right. I hope that satisfies the viewers. Okay, let me see if there's any questions. Hi, Paresh. Where would I put stop loss? Look, that's really a subjective question. Yeah. So my recommendation to you is that put it below daily levels. The H4 levels are really weak. Are weaker than not really weak. H4 levels, if you compare to daily levels, it will be weaker. Yeah. So to me, personally, when I trade, I would prefer, let's say for this particular example, so if I enter over here, then my stop loss will actually be below the daily levels. Yeah. Won't be, now you gotta listen carefully. It won't be at the daily level. It will be below the daily level. Why? Because whenever I trade, my mindset is that, remember the first method which I just described, there's a high chance, no, there's a chance that price will actually retest a support level, right? Price will retest a horizontal level. Now, so if I'm half expecting price to retest a horizontal level, doesn't make sense for me to put my stop loss at a horizontal level. I need to put it slightly below. Yeah, so when price actually retested, it will actually chop me out. But for some of you who are much more aggressive, if you want to put it at the H4 level, I'm not going to stop you. You can. That means some of you put it, your entry will be a candle high, stop loss will be a candle low. I think you'll be stop up more often, but your risk to reward will be much more fantastic. You need to have a much more fantastic risk to reward. Yeah. So just take a look at this example. Is that if I put my stop loss here, that means probably up to 40 candles later, then I'll get my 3R rewards. Yeah, so if I put a tighter stop loss within the week, I'll actually get my 3R. Yeah. So to me, I don't like to lose that much. So I tend to have a wider stop loss. And the daily level actually makes more sense to me compared to H4 level that I trade it. All right, this is just a suggestion. I would say that this is a strategy. This is just a stop loss suggestion. All right. Yeah. So personally, again, I repeat, stop loss, I prefer to put it at the last swing low, which usually coincides with the daily levels. All right, cool. So, wait a minute. Hey, wait, is the link out yet? I don't think the link is out yet. I'll put the link in. Let me get the link on my end. I'm just checking. Oops. What did I do? Yeah, the link is up. Thank you, Mike. Yep. So, so the link is my Google Drive. Google Drive. Just feel free to go in there and grab it and the previous indicators. Yeah. So this will be the indicators that you should be looking at: the fractal support and resistance. Yeah. All right. I hope that helps everyone in finding a much more objective way of looking at and placing levels. All right. So with that, I'll be signing off. Thank you and have a nice day ahead. Goodbye.